Ladies and gentlemen, imagine for a moment that you have spent the first 40 years of your life climbing a grand mountain. You were told that the peak held everything: success, fulfillment, the meaning of existence. Yet as you reach what you thought was the summit, you realize something unsettling. The mountain was an illusion. You pause, you breathe, you look around, and then you see it. Beyond the mist, beyond the expectations you once obeyed, lies the real journey, the one you were always meant to embark upon. Most people believe that by 40 they should have it all figured out: the job, the family, the wealth, the status. But what if I told you life has only just begun? What if the first act of your existence was merely a warm-up, a preparation for the profound adventure ahead? And so, if you feel lost, uncertain, or as if time is slipping away, I invite you to stay with me until the end of this journey, because what I'm about to share with you may just change the way you see your life forever. From the moment we take our first breath, we are fed a grand illusion that life is a race, and our worth is determined by how quickly we reach arbitrary milestones. By 20, we must have ambition. By 30, we must have stability. By 40, we must have it all. But who decided these rules? And why do we follow them? The truth is, the most extraordinary lives are not measured by early victories, but by deep awakenings. The real chosen ones are not those who peak early, but those who learn to see beyond the veil of illusion. Consider the first 40 years of your life as the script you were given. You played the roles assigned to you: the student, the employee, the partner, the parent. You learned the lines, you performed the acts. But now something shifts. The script dissolves, and for the first time you realize you are not your roles. You are the one who chooses them. And so the life you thought was set in stone becomes fluid, alive. You can rewrite the story. You can step onto the stage, not as a character shaped by others, but as the creator of your own play. At 40, the walls of the mind begin to crumble. The voices that once dictated your worth, society, family, culture, grow faint. And in the silence, a question emerges: who am I, if not what they told me to be? This is the moment of true power, because when you stop seeking validation from the world, you become limitless. You are no longer a prisoner of expectation. You are the architect of your destiny. There is a peculiar kind of magic that awakens at 40. It is the magic of no longer giving a damn about the trivial. You begin to shed the need for approval. You laugh at the opinions that once caged you. You move, speak, and live with an authenticity that is both terrifying and liberating. And in that authenticity, you attract the right people, the right opportunities, the right life. Not because you are trying, but because you are finally being. Before 40, time seemed endless. We postponed dreams, convinced that one day we would truly live. But at 40, something shifts. Time no longer stretches infinitely before us. It becomes sacred, urgent, real. Who never stop to question it themselves. This is the moment when we realize that much of what we chase, titles, possessions, approval, was never about personal fulfillment. It was about meeting expectations, about proving our worth through the metrics of a system that never truly saw us as individuals. And yet, despite following all the rules, many still arrive at 40 feeling unfulfilled, disconnected from themselves, and wondering, is this all there is? But here's the secret. The chosen ones are those who dare to break free, those who recognize that life is not a checklist, but a canvas, waiting to be painted with the colors of our own choosing. At 40, we are given a rare gift: the wisdom to see through the illusion and the courage to step beyond it. This is not rebellion for the sake of rebellion. It is a return to self. It is the shedding of imposed identities and the embracing of who we truly are. When we stop living for the world's approval, we begin to live for real. And in that space of freedom, life found a depth, a richness, and a meaning that we had been searching for all along. There is a moment in life when the noise begins to fade. The voices that once dictated your worth, society, peers, even your younger self, grow distant. And in that newfound quiet, something profound emerges: you. Not the version of you that was carefully curated to meet expectations, but the raw, unfiltered, undeniable truth of who you are. For decades we played roles: dutiful child, ambitious professional, responsible partner. We spent years adjusting ourselves to fit into molds, trimming away the edges of our personality to be more likable, more acceptable, more successful. But at 40, something changes. The weight of pretense becomes too heavy to carry, and a deep realization dawns: I no longer have the energy to be anything but myself. And that, my friend, is where real power begins. Authenticity is not about becoming someone new. It is about peeling away everything that is not you. It is the art of unlearning the masks you once wore, the fears that kept you silent, the self-doubt that made you shrink. It is a return to the essence of who you were before the world told you who you should be. At this stage in life, something magical happens when you embrace your truth. The right people appear, drawn to your energy. The wrong ones fade away, unable to handle your light. Opportunities arise, not because you chase them, but because you finally align with them. The life of a chosen one begins at 40, not because the world suddenly changes, but because you do. You no longer seek permission to exist fully. You'll no longer ask, who do they want me to be? But instead declare, this is who I am. And in that declaration, you find a freedom that is more exhilarating than anything you ever chased before. In youth, time feels infinite. We say, one day I'll travel. One day I'll write that book. One day I'll start living the way I truly want. But at 40, something shifts. Time no longer stretches endlessly before us. It becomes real, tangible, precious. This is not a cause for fear. It is a wake-up call. The realization that time is finite is not a curse, it is a gift. It forces us to ask the most important question of all, if not now, when? At 40, we stop waiting. We stop postponing happiness, adventure, and purpose for some future version of ourselves. We understand that the future is not guaranteed, and the only moment we ever truly own is now. And so, we begin to act. We stop tolerating the jobs that drain us, the relationships that suffocate us, and the self-doubt that has held us captive for too long. We take risks not out of recklessness, but because we finally understand that playing it safe is the most dangerous choice of all. This is the moment when life becomes vibrant. Every experience, every connection, every breath is more meaningful because we are fully present. No longer lost in the illusions of the past or anxieties of the future, we embrace the only thing that ever truly mattered this moment. At 40, the power of now is greater than ever. And those who recognize this don't just live longer, they live deeper. There's a great lie, we are told, that life peaks early, that our best days are behind us by the time we reach 40. But what if I told you that the opposite is true? What if, instead of the end of something, this is the beginning of everything? At 40, we are no longer guessing who we are, we know. We are no longer wandering aimlessly, searching for meaning in places it was never meant to be found. We have lived enough to understand that success is not about possessions, titles, or other people's approval. It is about depth. It is about experience. It is about living a life that feels as good as it looks. And here's the secret. The universe has been waiting for you to reach this point. Everything before now was preparation. The trials, the failures, the lessons, they were never meant to break you. They were meant to shape you into the person who is now ready to receive life in its fullest form. This is the age where things begin to align, not because you finally have control, but because you finally let go of the need to control. You surrender to the flow of life. You trust the timing of your journey. And as you do, the universe responds not with hesitation, but with abundance. So, if you've ever felt that time is running out, know this, it is not. Your true life, your greatest adventure, your deepest love, your most fulfilling purpose, it is all still ahead of you. The life of a chosen one does not end at 40, so here you are standing at the threshold of something extraordinary. Not an ending, not a decline, but a beginning. A chance to rewrite the story, not as the person you were told to be, but as the person you were always meant to become. At 40, you are not running out of time, you are stepping into your most powerful years. The years where you no longer chase, but attract. The years where you no longer seek validation, but live in your truth. The years where every moment becomes more meaningful, not because life is slipping away, but because you have finally woken up to its beauty. So the question is no longer, is it too late? The question is, what will you do with this extraordinary gift of time? Will you continue to live as you have, or will you embrace the freedom, the wisdom, the awakening that comes with this new chapter? Because the life of a chosen one does not peak early. It does not fade into routine. It begins at 40, and it is yours to live fully, freely, fearlessly. And this is not a tragedy, it is a gift. Because when you understand the value of time, you stop wasting it. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You realize that this moment is the perfect moment. So many believe that life after 40 is a slow descent. But what if I told you it's the opposite? What if the universe was always waiting for you to reach this moment, this point where wisdom, experience, and self-awareness converge into something truly magnificent? This is not the end. This is the initiation. The chosen ones are not those who peak early, but those who rise when others believe it is too late. And so, my friend, I ask you, if your life was only the prelude, what masterpiece will you create now? There comes a point in life, often around the age of 40, when the weight of pretense becomes unbearable. Up until this moment, much of our existence has been shaped by the need to conform, to be the good son or daughter, the model employee, the responsible citizen. We have spent years wearing masks, carefully curating the version of ourselves that would be accepted, admired, or at the very least, tolerated by the world around us. But something remarkable happens as we reach this threshold of life. The illusion of pleasing everyone begins to crumble, and from beneath it, something real emerges. For decades, we have been trained to believe that success is external, measured in accolades, wealth, and the approval of others. We chase these things relentlessly, believing that once we attain them, we will finally feel whole. But by 40, a strange realization dawns upon us. No matter how much we achieve, the void remains. And it is in this moment of quiet disillusionment that authenticity begins to stir. We start to see that the greatest suffering does not come from failure, but from the suppression of our true nature. The exhausting effort to be what we are not, to fit into molds that were never designed for us, is what has drained us of joy. There is a kind of magic that arises when we no longer seek permission to be ourselves. The laughter that was once held back spills freely. The opinions we once feared now seem trivial. The need to impress dissolves, replaced by the simple, liberating act of being. It is not arrogance, it is freedom. And with this freedom comes an energy that draws the right people and experiences into our lives. No longer bound by the desperate need for validation, we become magnets for truth, for depth, for connection that is untainted by pretense. This is the age when we begin to reclaim the pieces of ourselves that we once abandoned in the pursuit of acceptance. The hobbies we dismissed as impractical, the dreams we locked away in the name of responsibility, the wild, untamed parts of our spirit that we silence for the comfort of others, all of it returns, demanding to be felt, expressed, lived. And as we step into this newfound authenticity, the world does not fall apart as we once feared. Instead, it begins to realign. Opportunities arise not because we are trying, but because we are finally in harmony with who we were meant to be. For most of our lives, we have been living within invisible walls, structures built not by us, but by the expectations of others. These walls are made of unspoken rules: what success should look like, what paths are acceptable, what behaviors make us worthy in the eyes of society. We are handed a script at birth. A formula for life: study hard, get a stable job, build a family, save for retirement, and hope that by the end of it all we will have lived well. But at 40, something extraordinary happens. The cracks in these walls become visible. We begin to question the blueprint we were given. Was it ever truly ours, or were we simply following a design handed down by generations?